So Jamie, I don't know if you heard, but this weekend, some people had some things taken from their phone without some clothes covering their bodies.
Yeah.
Did you know about this?
I feel like I heard about it a little bit.
Did you hear a thing or two about this?
I think it came across my feed about 1,000 times.
We were talking before the show, and this was interesting in the sense of there have been hacked devices before with compromising photos of celebrities before, but this is the first one where we saw the internet united in disdain for what had happened. Why? What do you think had to do with that reaction?
Well, I think there are two reasons. One, I think people get really nervous when celebrities do things like they get arrested or they date creepy people. I think some people go, well, that was a choice they made.
Sure.
Like that was just a decision they made, and it's a bad one, and these are the consequences they face. But with something like this, everybody can relate to stuff on their phone, whether it's a browser history or it's photos, and it doesn't have to be nude photos. Like there are things, I looked at my stream and I thought, would any of this embarrass me? And I was like, yeah. The number of times I've taken pictures of my face because I did not have a mirror. And so I'm trying to see if my eyebrows were like crazy. Mm-hmm. And so, or I'm trying to see something like that's like on my neck and I can't see it. So I'm like trying to take a picture of it. It feels weird and I probably have a tumor. Like that would embarrass me if those pictures went and people are like, what is wrong with her?
Sure.
And so I think the first thing is that people just related to
Right.
that felt scary that could happen to anybody. Not that it's going to, like, let's everybody, common man, let's calm down. Nobody is hacking into your pictures.
Right. Our cover is that no one cares. No one.
Yeah.
If a hacker was like, I could hack into this guy's phone, but why? Who cares? No one wants to know. There's no upside.
Yeah. So what if Jamie builds things out of Cheez-Its and then takes a picture of it for her own personal collection? Like, that's not interesting to the world.
Right.
But the second reason I think it is because, and I saw a great recap on CNN's website, and one of the things they said is because there's 100 celebrity women had their phones hacked, and you can go find that list. But on the list is Rihanna, and CNN in the article said this: while Rihanna is on the list, it might have been a waste of hackers' energy because the singer is known for frequently sharing revealing photos of herself on Twitter and Instagram.
Boom. CNN throwing shade at Rihanna. CNN, stick to the facts. How about that?
Oh my gosh. I love that it was like, good try, like way to go after Kim Kardashian. Like we've all seen her boobs. Thanks. So I think the part was that the list had enough women on it where we were like, it's not Rihanna. Like it's not Kim Kardashian. It's not Paris Hilton. It's not Miley Cyrus. These are like almost in a very sad way we were judging and going, these are moral girls. Like this is Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec, or, this is Hilary Duff from Lizzie McGuire. Like then it becomes like, those are good people, which is not okay. Like it shouldn't happen to anyone. Right. It's not okay.
Bad people. Who cares, Rihanna?
Yeah. Who cares if it's Rihanna? But even like Keke Palmer, who's in the new Cinderella, and she was in Akeelah and the Bee. She's 21 now, and her mother said she's on the list, but she didn't have any nude photos of her hacked. But her mother said in response to this, she said, we taught her early in her career about the dangers of keeping nude photos on her phone. So it was like,
that's an awkward conversation to have with
I know. It's like Kiki's mom was like, well, I'm a good mother, so she doesn't have nude photos.
Sure. I just want to say shout out to you right now, because in like successive minutes or consecutive minutes, you just referenced Lizzie McGuire and Akeelah and the Bee. That's good hustle right there. That's good Popcast hustle right there.
You're welcome, everybody. I did that on the fly too. I'm very proud of that.
So you're saying that a lot of the empathy the internet is feeling for these affected people has to do with the people involved.
Yes, I do. We
would be remiss if we didn't include the obvious, probably the headliner of this list, which was Jennifer Lawrence. And I think it dovetails nicely with the common feeling on the internet about Jennifer Lawrence and how everyone loves her. So it's an awkward... do you think it's this weird place because she is probably a very sought after person in the sense of these photos on the internet, but at the same time, everyone loves her. So it's a weird kind of convergence.
It is. Well, I remember recently, like this summer, Kate Upton was being interviewed. You know, it's really all the energy has gone to Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Upton, and kind of Ariana Grande and several of them. And Kate Upton, who's a Sports Illustrated model, she has several photos that are nudes. And she had always said she'd never posed nude. And she was really proud of that because she was like, I'm not ready and I'm not prepared for those images to be all over the internet, because then I know that people are going to be using them for all kinds of nefarious types of activities. And so now, like, I think part of you goes, I'm so sad that was taken from her. But let's calm down. Kate Upton was eventually going to pose nude. So let's not pretend that wasn't going to happen. But now it's like you feel sad because Jennifer Lawrence had made a decision, at least up until now, not to pose nude, although she's blue in Mystique. I don't know. I know it's not the same thing, but there's no Mystique left. But
I see what you did there.
Thanks.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm. But Jennifer Lawrence is beloved, and so it's almost like it happened to our little sister.
Sure.
It's like, you can't do this to our little sister.
Right.
You can absolutely do this to Hayden Panettiere.
Sure. I don't know why I had to bring her into this, but
I'm just saying she's on the list, and she was the person. When I started going down the list, I was checkmarking in my head, like, oh, no doubt. Oh, that's too bad. Like I really thought, like, oh, like Kirsten Dunst, yeah, no surprise there. Vanessa Hudgens, what else you got going on? That's it. Some of these people are getting pressed this week, and they would never get pressed, by the way.
I didn't scour. I've tried to stay pretty far away from this for a lot of different reasons, obviously.
Yes,
So I'm getting the people from you and other secondhand sources, but yeah, I think it feels like a lot of, if it had been a different group of people, maybe it wouldn't have felt like that, but it also feels like there are these like internet movements that become about a bigger issue than any one individual can kind of talk about. So it sweeps people up in a way different way. Ferguson was like that in how it was a movement people attached themselves to, and there was no way to not be like, there was no way to really be against it without looking like a buffoon. Similarly, like there's no way to be like, I think Lena Dunham went on a run a couple nights ago retweeting people who kind of argued with her about how these girls had it coming or whatever. Like there's no way to take a contrarian view. So it's one of those things where even if you do have a certain opinion that runs counter to most people, there's just no way you can voice it right now.
No, you're right. Here's my question to you as a guy. Like, do you feel like if this had been guys whose phone had been hacked, which the demand for that is not as great, obviously.
Sure.
Would it have been such a hoopla?
No. I don't know if it's a fair comparison though, because there's just not, like you said, there's just not a demand for it. Like no one cares that much.
True.
But I think in a different way, it feels, I heard people invoking rape culture in this, and I'm just not smart enough or informed enough to be able to make those comparisons intelligently. But there is a sense of like, there is something kind of real seedy about this that I don't think would apply to dudes. I think it'd be more just kind of embarrassing to dudes, but for girls, it feels a little more nefarious. Is that over dramatizing it, or? No,
I think it's exactly right. I mean, it's very feminist of you. Here's the thing, and this is what I think about, like, I do agree with, one of the things that had gone, one of the arguments was, and I had somebody in my own life say, well, if you don't have naked photos on your phone, then this won't happen. And it's like, how about this is your privacy? Like, you have a right to be able to put on your phone anything you want, and people don't have, like, and I get that, hey, you want to make some personal choices, but I don't want those personal choices, whatever they may be, because everybody could disagree with something you do or have on your phone or decisions you make, and for any reason, like, and I really don't have much on my phone that I'd be embarrassed about, or at least that I'd have to answer for, but I still don't want someone entering my phone. Like, I have emails and text conversations. Like, I think about text conversations, that would be the source of my biggest humiliation of, like, the things I say in text. Not that I'm not proud of, or that it's really an issue of.
It's just out of context. Yeah.
It's just, and this is my privacy, and I expect to have privacy. Now, is that illogical? Like, should I, as a regular person, be expected to have that kind of privacy when so many things are put on the internet and stored there? Or does a celebrity, like, do they have the right to privacy, period? Like, should it be, like, this just should be part of their sign up? Like, when you make $1 million, you don't get to have anything private in your life?
I think that's probably where the rub's coming between people who are completely empathetic and people who are not as empathetic. You're trying to reconcile these people who make themselves a commodity and in some situations sexualize themselves to the point where when a reaction is created from that, it's hard to really be like, well, did you not kind of expect that? Now, there's no like, you can't justify that. Like, I'm not justifying that. I'm saying that's the argument that's being made. I think because what you were talking about, you're talking about the privacy like on your phone. That's the same kind of national conversation we're having in terms of security ever since 9/11. It's like people who feel like they have nothing to hide are okay with less privacy, right? But like, that doesn't mean it's okay to not have privacy. You still deserve privacy and you should have it. Do you think there's a middle ground to be had, or do you think the reality of it is you're either going to be smothered by coverage or you have to kind of close yourself out and be closed off from the paparazzi scene and everything?
Well, it's almost like a jump, right? Because there's a certain level of celebrity and money that you've earned that makes people interested in you, but you've got to jump really high to get into a situation where you can really have privacy. So, like, you start off and you're, James Franco, who is going to be followed on the streets of New York, and paparazzi is going to follow him and ask questions about him and take photos. Then you jump to Angelina and Brad Pitt, who obviously they got married this week. Well, they had a private wedding because they had it in their private chapel and their private French chateau.
Right.
James Franco doesn't have a chateau. So, like, when he gets married, he may have to do it somewhere where there are going to be helicopters and he can't keep it private. And it's just a different level. So, like, you almost have to jump. You have to be so famous that then you can literally move. Like, I think of Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. They don't have to live in LA anymore because they can afford to fly anytime they need to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. But somebody like Mindy Kaling she's not quite at the level of being able to take private jets everywhere. So she has to stay in LA, live there, and deal with all the things that come with invasion of privacy.
Let me shift gears and ask you this question. Do you feel the same amount of worseness or an unequal amount of worseness within the situation for Jennifer Lawrence and Kate Upton?
No, I feel a different level, 100%.
Is that fair?
No, it's not fair.
Okay.
It's not fair.
But it's real, right? Because it's like Jennifer Lawrence didn't ask for this. She doesn't deserve this.
Right. Kate Upton, like, God love Kate Upton.
No one deserved it, but...
No one deserved it, but Kate Upton, you're kind of trashy anyway.
Well, you, like, your profession is like getting your picture taken in like as little clothing as possible, right?
Yeah. And she said she never posed topless, but I was like, well, I've seen some of your Sports Illustrated layouts. Like, I can fill in the blanks for that 3 inches of fabric. Like, I can fill in the blanks. But thank you for telling me you've never posed nude.
Okay, so the internet tells me that I'm terrible now because I think that. But am I terrible for thinking that?
It's different, like, with Kim Kardashian. Like, she's already putting nudity, like, she's built a career on nudity.
Sure.
Like, she built a whole empire on nudity.
Yeah.
So it's like Halle Berry. If Halle Berry gets, personal and says, I don't want nude photos. Well, you've already posed nude in movies. Like, we've already seen you nude. Like, we've seen you nude. Like, you can't hide. To me, it's a different level. Like, now, should you be punished for that forever? No. Because I've made decisions in my past where I go, I feel bad about that. But the internet doesn't go away.
Right.
And so it's part of it. I do feel differently about it, but I don't think it should have happened to any of them. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So I feel bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I feel bad about feeling differently about this happening to, Mary Kate Olsen or Kirsten Dunst is my favorite. Like, Kirsten Dunst Like if you've seen any movie with Kirsten Dunst, you've seen her naked, minus Spider-Man. And so part of me goes, well, it's already out there, but that doesn't make it okay. Like, she shouldn't have her privacy.
Sure,
invaded.
it's still a total invasion of privacy. I think it's almost, it's a very interesting, and like something I can't even really quantify or figure out for myself, like how to feel about it in terms of the different people involved and how they're affected. But I think you and I both agree that it's a moderately terrifying omen for the future, that like I assume anyone can see what I'm doing at any moment. Like I feel like people can like the NSA is watching this podcast as it's going, like if they want to. So it just makes me even more terrified to have anything on my phone.
Well, I would like to say to the NSA, if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be fantastic.
That'd be super
While
awesome.
you're here, I
maybe tweet about it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Anything else? I kind of wanted to talk at some point about if there's a line between there's the line of reporting, there's a line of commenting on it, and then there's a line of being like, go here to see it, right? Like it's layers of involvement within the story, you know?
Right. And I did make the conscious choice, like for us, we did not tweet about it and Facebook about it. And I really did make that conscious choice because I saw it very early on in the game when it came out. And I just thought, I don't want, like, if I can be less a part of this, if we as the podcast can be, now we're doing a whole episode on it, but if we could be less a part of it, that's better than, because early on it would have been like people hunting down pictures. And like you said, like, I need to stay disconnected from this as best as possible.
Sure.
There are a lot of people who, if you don't happen to run into naked photos of people, that's probably a great way to spend a day.
Right. Yeah. It's because with the James Foley thing from a couple weeks ago where he was beheaded, it was like there was an outcry. There was almost more of an outcry over how people handled it than him actually losing his head. And it goes back to the internet and like courting controversy versus actually engaging with it, you know, because I think we know a lot of bloggers and writers who will take an inflammatory situation and just write about it for the clicks, not necessarily for the deep dive that you and I are committed to as humanitarians.
We are doing this as we're making people socially aware.
We are. You're not going to come here and see naked pictures of people like
that's right. Unless it's like babies and goats.
No, right. You're going to come here and see naked pictures of our souls as we try to hash this out for you, I think.
Oh my gosh. Can we get that knitted on a like podcast pillow and give that away as a gift? That'd be good.
Okay. I think that's it for that conversation. We would love to hear what you think about it. Go to facebook.com/the Popcast and let us know there. Or if you're like, I didn't come here to engage in social conversation. I just want to watch funny videos. Then go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/popcastpod. Is that right? Go there and check out all the videos we are curating for your pleasure.